Chapter 4. Impressive. Tija was too focused on the man in front of her to hear the growing silence all around them, or notice the space that began to separate them from the crowd. Their attention was suddenly diverted to Lord Anders and the rider as they approached. The rider was impressive, his dark leather armor adorned with swords at his waist. His black hair was cut short, and his clothing beneath his armor was decorated with intricate floral designs. As he drew closer, Tija couldn't help but notice the twin scars on his left cheek that cut over his mouth. His piercing, icy blue eyes seemed to look straight through her, stealing a part of her with each passing moment. This was a marshal. In comparison, Lord Anders was unremarkable. He held a royal bearing, but his presence was overshadowed by the marshals. Usually, Tija found him to be the most intimidating figure in New Hope. He exuded authority and respect among most of the people who lived there, always wearing a calm and smug expression. Standing next to Lord Anders, the marshal was more intimidating with his soft face that seemed to hide a dark and terrible secret. Tija feared him instinctively as he looked different from anyone she had ever seen before. She wondered if everyone else felt the same way in the presence of a marshal. Tija averted her gaze from him, the first time in so long that she was unable to withstand the weight of another's stare. Startled, Quinn stood up quickly to face Lord Anders and bowed his head.
"My apologies, sir. I didn't realize my daughter had left our home. I didn't mean for our incident to cause a scene and disrupt this monumentous event."
Lord Anders nodded, his expression stern.
"It's important to keep track of her, Quinn. We can't have any more incidents like the one at the market."
Quinn grimaced.
"Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I'll make certain it doesn't happen again."
The marshal, who had been observing the exchange silently, spoke up. "What happened at the market, exactly?" Quinn hesitated, uncertainty and concern clouding his face. But Lord Anders spoke up before Quinn could respond.
"It was just a minor incident, sir. A merchant accused Tija of stealing, but it was all a misunderstanding."
The marshal raised an eyebrow, not removing his gaze from Tija. "And how did she get those scratches on her face?" Quinn shot her a disapproving look.
"An excellent question, sir. I was about to ask the same."
He directed his words to Tija next.
"Well, speak up, girl."
Tija glared at her father, feeling frustrated and embarrassed. Why couldn't he just leave her alone? She could feel the weight of the marshal's gaze on her, and she wanted nothing more than to crawl into a hole and disappear. But she knew that she had to say something.
"I just fell into a bush, sir," she muttered.
Why had she lied? It was not like her to fabricate a random story like that. She only did it because the chief of the village, her father, and the intense scrutiny of the marshal were all bearing down on her. It was a lame excuse, though. Why wouldn't she tell the truth? Oh, because no one would believe her.
"Well, there you have it," Quinn said. "A clumsy mistake. You need to be more careful, child."
Quinn seemed satisfied with the answer at least. Frustrated, Tija kept her head lowered as she waited for them all to leave. This was an embarrassing lie to tell, and she wanted to be alone. She wanted to be alone anyway, but now she particularly wanted to be away from the marshal, who unnerved her so. Seconds passed, and the adults conversed briefly around her. But one voice, quiet until now, said, "Why do you lie, little one?" It made her eyes widen and her stomach knot again. Slowly, she lifted her gaze to meet the marshal's. Of course, he knew she was lying. Did he want to hurt her? Did he want to further embarrass her? Why call her out at all? Why not just accept her answer? It didn't make sense. She couldn't fathom his reasons. For a brief time, there was silence between them. Tia didn't know how to answer. It was stupid that she had to lie to begin with, and now she was caught in it. What should she do? What was there to say?
Sir Marshal is asking you a question, Tia, Quinn said sternly.
Tia sensed his frustration and knew she had to respond quickly to rectify the problem she had caused. But what could she say now? Tia took a deep breath, trying to steady herself. I got into a fight, she admitted, avoiding the Marshal's gaze.
And you attacked them,
Quinn interjected sharply, cutting her off. In front of everyone, he feigned surprise, but Tia knew it was not genuine. He was merely trying to impress the Marshal.
I apologize, Sir Marshal. I will take her home and discipline her.
Make sure you do, Lord Anders commanded.
Sir Damon, this is a private family matter. There is no need for someone of your stature to intervene.
Nevertheless, I have involved myself, Marshal Damon interjected. Forgive me, Sir Anders, but there is more to this situation than meets the eye.
Just a petty family matter.
Lord Anders dismissed the dispute.
Hardly worth mentioning. If you think it necessary, I can have my men investigate. However, it is nothing that requires the attention of men of our stature. As Lord Anders says,
Quinn spoke up, addressing the Marshal directly.
My family is small and insignificant. My daughter is merely a troublemaker who needs to be corrected. There is no need for you to be concerned.
Damon surveyed each speaker in turn with a cold, detached expression. When he finally responded, his words had a sharp edge to them. I appreciate your concern over how I choose to spend my time, but I am aware of its value. Sir Anders, while this may appear to be a minor family matter, there is more to it than meets the eye. Turning his attention to Quinn, Damon's icy gaze made Tia feel sorry for the man who was responsible for her. I don't claim to know how you raise your children or the challenges you faced. However, it is disrespectful to refer to your daughter as girl when speaking to her directly. Does she not have a name? Does she not deserve empathy and the benefit of your doubt? Damon quickly moved to another topic before Quinn could respond. To Tia's delight, there was a hint of rebuke in the Marshal's words. Then his gaze settled on her. You, young one, he said, his voice firm but understanding. Violence is not always the answer. As a scout for the Marshals, I know little about you, but what I do see is impressive. You are different from the others in a way I cannot quite identify. There was a brief pause, and a moment of silence hung in the air. Young one, I would like to invite you to Altine to be evaluated for fellowship in the Order of the Marshals. Hey guys, thanks for sticking all the way through. It really helps out if you like, subscribe, and comment, so drop me a line and let me know what you think.